Hello guys, thanks for tuning in. Today I will be showing you 25 tips and tricks that I've learned early on as a newbie to Valheim. Let us begin. And your crafting here. Also, while in this menu, you have your little bird icon here. This is your where you talk to Hugin. This one will show you all your active effects, and then it'll also show your previous Hugin messages from when you've talked to him in the past. Next tip for you is to open the map screen here. This is where you can place random icons around if you wanted to, and you can name it as well by whatever you want it to be. You scroll out, the map is huge. You can also see if an item was marked way over here, for example, it would show you kind of the path you need to take to get there. The next tip, if you plus Control plus F3, that will hide all of your HUD. And then you can click and zoom through this menu to zoom in and out of your character. But then you can press F12 to take a screenshot if you wanted to. The next tip for you, if you open up your hammer menu and you go to your build icon, then you go and open up the campfire. You actually can build that away from a workbench, and you can place that randomly without the location if you wanted to do that. And then you can press X to sit down. You actually gain warmth up there by the little fire icon next to the right of the map. Also, another tip for you, the little mobs that will sometimes spawn around, they actually kind of avoid fire. So if you're sitting down next to it, one, you're taking warmth, and you're also keeping enemies away by resting here. Another thing is if you're running and you feel like you're not running fast enough, if you press the R key, you will put your items away, and then you can run even faster now that you don't have any items you're holding. Once you have started in the game and you're spawning in with no items, one of the little tricks I've learned is if you actually start punching trees, you can actually break some down and actually get your first little wood you need to make your first axe. One thing to watch out for is when you actually are mining for trees, is that trees actually have kind of a domino effect, and they can fall and hit other trees over, and they will also collapse other trees. This case, it actually worked out for me, or it will not, and roll over, and do damage to other trees, and eventually break them. And it can be a little wild, and it can fall back and hurt you and kill you, which, in my case, my biggest enemy right now is the trees, because they're so sporadic. The best thing you can do early on to get your deer kills that you need to fight your first boss, for example, is to sneak up like this, and then give a good whack on the deer right before you get close to it, just so you can get those first initial deer heads and stuff, because you won't spawn with the bow to make it a little easier for you. And once you've killed 2 deers in your inventory, you'll start to get these deer trophies. It's going to require you to get 2 deer trophies to do the first boss, which in my case is, or in the case, it's called Eikthyr. And once you fight him, I would strongly recommend A, to have food on you, B, to make sure you have a shield and an axe, and to have enough stamina at that point to be able to fight him. One of the good things about having the shield is that you can block every attack that the boss has, because it's the first boss, and it just makes it easier on you. But my first time, I did it without any shield, and luckily I was spawned right next to the main spot on the map right over here, and the Eikthyr thing was over like right there for me, for example, and I was able to spawn just over and over, and I died like 6 times just killing the thing. Another thing for you is you'll want to know is when you make a fire in a building, you're going to want to make sure you have an opening like mine does up here, because if not, as you can kind of tell, the fire kind of builds up inside the building, and it will eventually can suffocate you if it's not vented off well enough for you. When you repair items, right now it is currently free to do any item, so make sure when you do that you repair any item as frequently as you can, just to make sure you're getting the full use out of your item. Another thing, when you're in your inventory, if you hold shift and left click, you can choose how much of a stack you want to click and drop and what you want to do with it. If you have multiple types of arrows in your inventory and you don't know which one you're selected on or which one you want to be shooting, if you hover over it and you right click, you can now select your type of arrow that you will shoot when you shoot your bow. One thing when placing your chest, if you want to be a stickler for space, you can put these little wooden shelves, or a little 1x1, or this little small section here of wood. It's basically a wood floor. You can put just above it and place your chest right above it as well, and then delete that middle floor, and it'll save you some space. However, I'm kind of a stickler for it looking nice. That's why I built it like this. But just another tip if you're wanting to get some more space out of your buildings and stuff for your chest. The first step when you're cooking will give you an edible piece of food to eat. You'll hear that first sizzle. That's when you know it's ready. There is a second step though. When it goes past that, when it sizzles a second time, you get a piece that will be coal that you can pick up and use that to add to another another build item. Another thing to look at is as well when you have different weapons. Not every weapon has this ability, but say for the knife, for example, this is your main attack, a little slash and stab. But also some of the weapons have a secondary attack, which usually by default is your third mouse button, which is kind of a lunge, kind of a stab thing. In this case, but like the spear has another one where you can throw it, and the weapons have different ones as well. Another thing your character can do, if you decide that you've played enough, you don't like the world you're on, you can actually grab what's ever in your inventory. You can actually, in a sense, change all your inventory over by logging out and doing this over and over again. But if you log out of your world, select the character you want to play with, and then go to a different world or set a new seed or something like that, you can take your character and he will spawn in on that new place with all of its already inventory. So since you have to start over every time you start a new world. Another thing you can do, if you open up your build menu and you place a rug down, it'll actually increase your comfort level and make your place a little bit comfier. As you just saw, my comfort went from 4 to 5. Once you defeat the first boss, that's when you get the antler pickaxe. You can use that to start mining your metals and your stones and such. Where you will find your metals to unlock more crafting abilities and everything, it'll be in the Black Forest. That's where you'll find your tin, your copper, to be able to make more metal materials and items for yourself. Also in the Black Forest is where you'll find carrot seeds for farming, which you can then use to make, carrots. Another little tip is for the mini map up there. Your comma and your period key, both though the left and right can be used to zoom in and out of the mini map on the top right up there. Your comma will be to zoom out, and your period will be to zoom in if you're trying to see a little more on the mini map for yourself. Another thing when you're at your workbench here, one of the options you get when crafting a wooden shield is to change the style of it. As you can see right now, it's just the standard wooden-lined wooden shield. If you go over to style, then you can change it to a white and red accent here for you to use on your design. You can see mine up there is the blue and white one I currently have crafted. So when you start crafting signs, one of the things to notice is that one side has 3 dots on it when you first craft it, and the other does not. Make sure you face the side with the dots on it outwards. That way you can write your words on it, and that will be what is displayed. And some of my last little tips I haven't personally done yet, but one, if you see a bunch of rock formations, which they're kind of an oval shape in the grounds, they're usually about, I don't know, a good amount of distance across, but in the shape of roughly the old Viking boats. If you dig in the dirt in between those, you can find chests and bones, which you can then find treasure and use those bones to start using craftable materials with. And the last thing is when you find beehives in old destroyed buildings, you can destroy those beehives. One, that'll give you honey, and two, sometimes it will drop queen bees, and queen bees can then be used to build beehives, and your beehives will eventually can be used to make a long-term for honey, and you'll make a little hut for it, which are a small little 2x2 hut with little starchy, scratchy thatch roofing up there. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my first main video of me doing edits, so feel free to leave me any feedback. That would be awesome. I stream most weekdays after work at twitch.tv/Groucho. Hope to see you guys there. And don't forget to like and subscribe.